My husband died on the 1st of August in 21. He died of cancer and he had dementia as well. And so I kept him at home until the last couple of weeks when it just wasn't able to be managed at home. And so he died a very peaceful, well-managed palliation in Hobart at the Gibson ward. 6 weeks after that, I was given the diagnosis that I had cancer. And my first reaction was relief, because I knew that there was something wrong. I kept saying to my GP, there's something wrong with my head. I can't tell you how I feel, but there's something wrong. So that was my first reaction, was relief that I wasn't a hypochondriac, that I had a diagnosis. The next reaction was, oh, my poor family and friends. I really felt for them. I've got a wide circle of wonderful friends and a great family. And I thought, how am I going to tell them? What are they going to feel? How are they going to respond to me? And so I got over that bit. Then I got angry because I thought, why didn't I just have a bit more time to myself to recover and grieve from losing Dennis after 54 years of marriage? But I got over that bit too, and I told myself I was allowed to cry, and cry I did. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I've got to get all these things done. And so we'd done all the paperwork, all the necessary stuff for end of life and all of that. So then I phoned my friend, the celebrant, and said, hey, I want you to organise my funeral. This is what we want. Arrange someone to do the eulogy. I made 250 pair of origami earrings to give away at the funeral. And so I had this sense of panic of getting everything done. I've got all this wool that needs spinning, so I've got to hurry up and do that. And so these were my initial reactions. When I'm sitting there spinning away, I solve the problems of the world and things go round in my head all the time. I get great pleasure out of making earrings and giving them away as random acts of kindness, but I also use them to raise money for charity. You couldn't start your nursing training until you were 17. So I went and worked as a blue girl, a nurse's aide. So I cleaned the pan room and gave out the cups of tea. And I was very proud of the fact that I was good at getting people to have a cup of tea. But one day there was a gentleman who was just not going to cooperate. I tried and tried to get him to have a cup of tea. So I had to go to the nurse in charge with my hands behind my back and say, Sister, I'm sorry, but I can't get this man to drink a cup of tea. Oh my goodness, she said. So she came with me and he was dead. So that was my first experience with a dead person. Compassion is just so important. Compassion and comfort. And to be honest, that's one of the things that's lacking today. We were taught how to make somebody comfortable, how to adjust their pillows, how to care for their family. The benefits of palliative care is that you're being cared for by a team of very experienced people who know the ins and outs of everything. They know the care and the support that's available for you and your family. They've done extra training, and so their expertise is much greater than somebody who's a generalist. I suppose I am overqualified because that's exactly the stage of life that I'm at. And I've seen hundreds of deaths, good ones and bad ones. And I've seen good palliation and I've seen terrible palliation. And I guess that's why I feel so passionate about trying to help get it right. I went along to my optical dispenser and I said to him, I've come to get my last pair of glasses, and if they're not wild, I don't want them. And they are a bit wild, and they are really a bit big, I have to admit. But why shouldn't I go out in style? They're the last pair I'll ever need. It seems to me that there are silos of services. All of these organisations who help people who have life-threatening illness have got wonderful mission statements, objectives, brochures, websites, staff, offices, the whole lot. But there's not one single organisation that can stitch everything together. Not one. It's really fragmented and very convoluted. There's wonderful help to be had out there, really professional, fantastic help. But it's really difficult to sort yourself through the maze. So the care that somebody, the coordinated care that somebody gets in this situation is very much dependent upon their case manager. They will have a primary person of some sort to help lead them through this. But that person can't possibly know how to access everything. There are things that I discovered that I didn't know even existed. And yet I've been doing this sort of work for a long, long time. And these days, a case manager may not necessarily be a nurse or an enrolled nurse. They may not have had very many years of life experiences either, with multitude of cases to deal with. And yet they have nowhere to go to find out all of the resources to stitch a package of care together to meet the needs of the individual. So first of all, this service, this organisation must have a name that's readily identifiable with a client. That person should not administer any of the services, but should be a bureau where case managers can go with the situation and say, I have a client who needs transport and they live 50 kilometres from the city. I need somebody who will be able to deliver modified food because this person has difficulty swallowing. I need X, Y, and Z. Please give me a list of resources that I can then tap into and organise to meet the needs of my client.